Okay, so let me explain it. And let me explain what it is that's going to happen here. I don't know who watches these anymore, but I'm going to explain my life and everything that I'm going through with some touch ups on my past, what it is that I'm doing, and what it is that's really going through my head that I have to deal with this. So let's just explain this. I'm disabled now. I'm on SSDI, and I'm constantly pumped full of antidepressants. And realistically, I can get free college. I can go to college if I spend something with 10 hours out of my week as a disabled person. Even if I lost my house, I could go and ask the courts for a 45-day extension until it is that I couldn't find another place to go to and save up 3 months of rent and end up on the street with all of my possessions paid for by movers to go into a storage unit and pay for the storage unit, making about $17,000 to $20,000 a year, anyways, and then never having to pay any extra bills other than a phone bill, maybe. And I can just go to the health centers, and because I'll be dual eligible for Medicaid and the state Medicare here, I'll have transgender care completely free for me, if not just $50 per month, including facial feminization surgeries and hospital stays, with no ability to work more than 10 hours a week, depressed and not knowing what to do with my life if I choose that. But let me explain some stuff here right now to give you some rationality that I think about in my mind. There's a lot of things that I can't do when it comes to breaking the law because that would be illegal and I don't condone that. But let's take an overview of what I just experienced that kind of led me down this process. That inside of magic, inside of the world and free will and choice, I didn't stop somebody who was stealing from people, molesting teenagers, and beating the shit out of children at shows, that finally got caught and then tried to threaten me with legal paperwork and still got away with it because the person that I loved and cared about didn't get them arrested and organized against me. But let's take a look at what I get stuck doing because I can't walk out during the sunlight. So when I have to go on for a 5-mile walk, which may take 45 minutes, it's not that challenging if it's only 45 minutes because of the amount of nerve blockers and the amount of medication that I have to take for pain that I'm asking them specifically, despite me being in pain, not to take oxys and not to take hydrocodone and not to get fentanyl patches. And I'm just hoping that the surgeries are going to be able to stop the pain. But no matter how much that I feel the physical pain, the emotional pain that somebody is putting me through intentionally with their choices in life is different. So you have to understand what I realize. It doesn't matter how many places in the world that I've been going and traveling. It doesn't matter how much money that I make. Because when you can walk down the street and you see the casinos and you know how much money that there is inside of the world that you could possibly make in all of the jobs, you realize that most people, even if they work and go to college, will make around $100K a year, especially with people with good opportunities outside of the United States. People even working at $100K per year, which is more than most families will usually ever do, and usually take some of the most highest and most technical things inside of the world, will only accumulate around $3 to $5 million in their life. You can be lucky and be one of the few where it looks like the opportunities are, which I've missed out on a bunch of opportunities that I knew about in my direction that stopped me from being rich because I didn't make those right choices and I didn't go for the money. But you also have to realize where you could be if there's a minimal thing to where all the houses that you're surrounded by and all the houses that you pass, those are $300,000 houses, $500,000 houses. That even if you were to go into the outskirts of the city that I live in with things that look like they're multi-million-dollar houses, it's $8 million. $8 million isn't even that much when you start to cash in and realize that's a 30-year mortgage at most if you have a business and it's owned by a business. Some of these top earners and people that you see that go to these shows and play in bands, they work normal jobs and have normal jobs that still only make $80K a year or $100K a year. But they earn their companies that they work for anywhere between, $100,000 to $300,000 every single year, especially when they're competing in the realtors and they're using competition and go to $2 million, $3 million houses to play pickleball in order to be able to have company retreats, traveling from state to state, earning their company's cars. So you walk down the street and you realize everyone that committed a crime that you could press charges against with you, for anyone saying something small, or anyone that was harassing you inside of life or what they were doing, saying that you were interfering with their life and business and you were a fucked up person to them, you get to press charges against, if you're me, against everyone that they talked to that was here from the very beginning starting this shit. And they are responsible for all the money that you will not make anymore inside of life because you are disabled. All of the trademarks, all of the businesses, all of the shows you will never play, all of the housing that you will never have, all of the careers that you already did have, they can owe you $1 million. You can literally take the person that you love and care about that still refuses to love and care about you, that wants to live such a small, meager, pointless life inside of these experiences and events that they don't even want you a part of or to have with your life anymore, just to have friendships and entertainment that they don't even get money out of, that they may have an opportunity to reach and contact people with money, but they won't make $100K a year with it. And even if they did, you can go and try and force it to where it is that they and everyone that they did to try and destroy your life and keep you out of these events and keep you out of these career opportunities, to go and pay your rent and pay you $1 million. To the point where it is by state law, you can go and repossess their cars and vehicles. And even if they claim bankruptcy, you can go after their friends that have careers and garnish their wages from 18 to 25%, always making sure they pay money to you every single day. If you were a psychotic criminal knowing the information that you could do when you're not supposed to hurt people, you could kill them, murder them. You could literally break into their house, kill their families, slaughter them like fucking animals, and then sell all of their belongings inside of each house and make sure that you go on from it month to month if it is that you never really gave a shit about them because you were just that psychotic and you lost everything that was worth having inside of your life if you wanted to do that and live on until you ended yourself. You wouldn't even know if it is that other people that were molesting the kids, that were raping 17-year-olds, that were criminals, decided to come back now that is that they changed their numbers and nobody fucking knows who the fuck it is that you are. So you can go to college, if you're me. You sit here inside of an empty apartment, and it's not like the 90s, it's not like the 2000s and 2010s and 2020s. It's not like where it is that a majority of the people that you went to high school have already moved on with their lives, and all the pretty ones that you could have been jealous of while it is that you were stuck working inside of your 20s were making probably $30K a year or at least $20K a year, and they were still able to go to Coachella and all the shows. But now that you're going to make the choice as a 30-year-old adult that is finally allowed to be trans and choose to be trans, that you're going to do that. That you used to want to live inside of this world of social media, you used to want to use and do this as career, and you used to want fame, but you don't care about it anymore. But you have all these ideas, all these creative ideas where Not even video games is even worth it anymore because every piece of trash that comes out nowadays seems pretty worthless. Sure, we get to hang on to the new Call of Duty, Halo's dead now, and on top of that, people still play retro games because GameStop has now only to be able to expand its money-making market, started accepting in the old games that it used to sell all of us. GameStop bought up EB Games in all of those locations. GameStop was about to go under, and now they're buying up old original 360 games and fucking Nintendo 64 and all of that shit. Because nobody walks into a GameStop store any fucking more. Unless it is that they're buying a hard copy disc for something that's literally about to get key locked because it doesn't have an internet connection. After you do a renewal key, if they want to try and do that with their game because it's their choice for their license when you're renting the software to do it. The next set of Xboxes, they wanted to build them like other computers and access Steam because there was an entire buyout of Steam now. And Xbox bought that. But you're supposed to spend $1,000 on your next Xbox system, is what everyone says every single time, every single fucking year. All the new systems are going to be $800, $1,000. It doesn't matter anymore. The RAM is going. Everything inside of AI data centers is a thing, and I used to want to be a part of this world and love this world and embrace this world at the age of 14 and 15 and 16. Now that it is that I'm 30, saying that we need to be able to make sure that girls are naturally available and men are naturally available to accept that their high school classmate at the age of 18 is selling their pornography to adult men and women, and that they need to accept bisexuality and lesbianism when it comes to a social dynamic inside of people that are already establishing their careers as pornographic models if they decide to. Because that's their choice. Rather than the ostracization of other individuals for what it is that they do. It is now to a point where I used to be 14 talking with an 18-year-old adult with mental disease on the internet that was isolated and telling me how much it is that he had relationships and people after it is that he had a woman that wanted him to shit on her, where he was fucking other women and doing drugs with them and doing stuff inside of the music community or whatever they were doing inside of their town in Virginia. Where it is that they made a joke, where it is that they showed me scat porn and even showed me that as a young age because it was a joke. And we couldn't tell which ones were photoshopped. And it was a guessing contest. To where, in reality, now that I'm 30, for somebody that was joking about that stuff, not knowing the seriousness of their life, I literally know as a grown trans adult that is transitioning, somebody who is a porn model, know exactly where they work for their normal job because they put their content on the internet and get small jobs with active studios. That they film themselves on alternative accounts where it is that they jack off with their own shit and eat shit and drink piss. That I literally have seen them do that, and where it is that they pee on themselves inside of public bathroom stalls because they're into that. They go to the Renaissance Fair as well with their friends. That I know where they work. And if I were to work on myself and get better and be more attractive and offer something maybe lucrative or something that would be interesting, with the correct emotional state that they might be in, that they might let me shit inside of their mouth, pee in their eye, and fuck them in the ass behind their job for their own video content. Because now it's 20-year-old trans girls that are just fucking in large crowds of people that they know, with a bunch of dudes filming them while they fuck inside of a parking lot during an exhibition event outside of Seattle. The fact that most of that stuff is there and available, but literally you could go and probably just be intimate and fuck somebody in the ass. Or get fucked in the ass. And you just don't even care anymore. Because you're filled with the antidepressants and you have this option in the world to where it doesn't even matter. You could be rich and famous if you wanted to. Because of all the fucking movie stars and all the people inside the music industry. All of these random people that have literally turned their back on you for this one person that you wanted to care about in your fucking life. You're literally sitting here not knowing what they're doing. They would rather hang around with obese, mid-tier, and ugly-ass people. And they're going to go and spend their time laughing and saying you're a crazy, fucked up person when there's the potential that their actions of breaking the law, where they have threatened to say that they're going to do something against you with the police, but the police have already known about the situation that you have asked them about, to the point where you are about to have to do civil charges against them that can't get them arrested currently after what it is that they had originally did. But the fact that it is that they're a dumb piece of shit that tried to organize with criminal activity while they were at the age of 22, and because they're fucking idiots, they can all be in trouble because those are still the dumbasses that took no action about stopping somebody from molesting children that took money from me. People kill people in prison for that, for fucking 17-year-olds. But it's a different world where it's not the 90s. It's not the 2000s. It's not the 2010s anymore. And sitting around, fucking around on Minecraft and trying to make stupid shit to entertain your goddamn life doesn't really feel like that much of a thing if now my friends and I don't even play Call of Duty anymore. And we're stuck playing Counter-Strike 2 because Ark is now kind of boring after Ark being a famous thing. Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out for everyone in the hype, but oh man. It's just everyone that's going to try and delusionally lock out their mind from whatever it is that they're doing inside of the world. They could just do there. They want to go to the strip clubs in the game. I guess they don't have the money or want to waste the time to go to the strip clubs in real life because all of those are fucking empty and worthless and dead practically. Anytime I see a bar night or a lesbian night or a queer night, nobody goes to a fucking bar anymore. I can do the Fruit Loop and walk around to see everyone that it is that I have already know saying hello, picking out who I want to get to know at the ending of the night. But still at the end of it, people literally move on and there's just anyone casually there that's still too busy working for a $60K or $40K a year job. Even if they still live with their parents here deep into their 30s. Or even with random people as roommates into their 30s. I may not make $30K a year anymore, but I have more money to eat food than I've ever fucking had while it is that I worked for a 40-hour job and paid my own goddamn rent. With a fiance and living alone. And I get that disabled. So you gotta think about this. When you're me, what is a life like if you're in your 30s now? That you want somebody who's 22 because you know they'll never have kids with you and you never got to worry about that. That wants to be a musician and Instagram famous like you used to be, or some stupid shit like that. And their life right now is only looking at maybe making $100K a year if they ever get that opportunity, but lives off of $12K a year, $15K a year. To go and fuck people younger than you and potentially more unattractive than you and call you worthless and pathetic and weird especially people that may be more autistic than you, that they want to fuck autistic people. And even then, your competition, when it comes to just natural interest and selection for pornography and people that would say, I would fuck that, is usually only fitness models and bodybuilders. But even then, if those were the case, it's still just usually girls that are autistic or have taken drugs. That no matter how much that they're your goth mommy, probably having a life of vaping cigarettes, doing cocaine or E, or even having to spend their time on heroin, even though it is that they have gone to the level of age regression that the most that you are is an autistic weirdo, and everybody is fascinated with the fact that anyone gives a fuck about Legos. And now it's all okay for everyone to like anime. The very thing that was the guy who played with Legos that watched anime, that was the weird smelly guy, has now become the majority of what people have as any of the content viewers that are actively available. Especially for all the people that go and spend their time with Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, and fucking Pokemon collecting. It is to the point where it is that I look at a majority of the people that have these homes that are probably under 10 or 15 or even 30-year mortgages that are $2 million, which they will end up paying $4 million after a 30-year mortgage. That they're doing this, and they look just about as physically and mentally built as somebody like Donald Trump or any jackass that's inside of the business sector that reaches what you would mentally think an executive business person would be, versus the people that you would expect to be their right-hand mans that are, you know, one of their top earners that go and do physical exercise and take testosterone. And what it is that that person might be. You have to realize the entire principle of every asshole that's a fitness influencer that talks about longevity. That even then, you have somebody like Putin, Vladimir Putin, in the way that they look, talk about longevity and that what they want for their country, but with how they physically look, also balding, what that means for their genetics and longevity, especially with their body fat percentage and who they have to stand next to as a president. And you know, it's to a point where it is that I'm actually shocked and surprised where it is that I was isolated in the world from where it is that I grew up. Because where I grew up and what it is that I was placed in was, yes, I was around the people that would end up going and making multi-million dollars. But they didn't look like Elon Musk, and they didn't look like Bill Gates. Some of them did look weird. But even the theater kids still got to have like what looks to be casual, normal, obese, or non-athletically interesting lives. I'm in a world where I have to question whether or not the next person that I'm speaking to is a cokehead or smokes meth and give a shit about that. When the reality is, I can't even be socially accepted by autistic people that are willing to work with people and destroy my career and potentially owe me money or get hunted to life or death, that don't care about my well-being or the safety of others. trying to tell me that I'm mentally unstable inside of the world after it is that they're willing to let people molest kids. And tell me that I'm not a trans woman when they were trans themselves and introduced me to trying to be a different person. And what I wanted to change of myself. Thinking that I had to be a protector of the family. A man of the household. A warrior in the military that would kill anyone that touched my family. But why in the fuck do I have to worry about a world where I know that I never have to work and I can just make as much money as everyone else, getting free hormones and healthcare, never after paying a lawyer? If the fact that it is even the criminals who want to talk shit about my life and make sure that I can't work again get away with it, and they won't make more than me, and they won't make $3 million in their life. If that $8 million house that I could have is something that I can't force the respect that I need to have in my life and the dignity that I need to have in my life to be accepted as somebody who's working, and everybody else has mixed emotions on disability. Some bipolar disorder, some autism, some obesity. But the fact that it is that they have the audacity to speak to me like it is that I have any amount for them to reject of value inside of life. If they will not make more than what I have potentially seen the world to make. And they value their life and what it is that they have in their life more than what it is that I have. Because it doesn't even matter by these multi-million-dollar streamers and people that waste their time playing video games like League of Legends or some shit like this. You could literally just be autistic and never be able to be tall enough to touch the floor as a girl that's considered attractive, not doing OnlyFans with people redistributing your content to the point where you're famous and constantly having to stream every day for random people's attention on the internet to make money. Getting into social arguments and living with people inside of a mansion house. Driving a Lamborghini. A Lamborghini is only $500,000 to $1 million. That's not that much, especially if it is that you've made $2 million. Because in normal life, your idea is supposed to be the car, the house, and then the amount of money that you need to maintain that every single year. Because at $2 million, you could still just buy a $500,000 house and a $500,000 car. And then still have money to work and build something to work off of for the rest of your life. And even then, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. If somebody in their free will in life that you care about that's going to waste all of their time to try and fuck around with other people, make music, hang out, just jam, shed, go to shows, drink, go to the parties, and do girly shit and fuck bitches as a trans girl. What does that mean to your life? Even if it is that you own 25% of that, if the court approves it, including at 25% of whatever their friends own. And you make sure that in order for them to get anything, you sell their cars that they own. And what that means that when they actually owe you $1 million, then it goes at a gratuity tax or just an interest tax of 8% per year. No one makes enough money to pay off the interest because every year they owe you an extra $80,000. They don't pay it even if somebody claimed bankruptcy. If they paid 25% of everyone's checks that was making $30,000 a year, $60,000 a year, it's only $50,000. They would still owe you another $30,000 every single fucking year and never pay it off. So what's the point of life if it is that they still get to walk away and have freedom to make those choices that make you feel miserable because none of that makes you happy? And you still want the chance because when you go to college, yeah, you can go and learn the drums, you can learn the piano, you can go and do art. Shit, it doesn't even matter because if I wanted to go be a drug addict, I can literally choose to go and talk to the doctor and choose to be a criminal if I decided to and ask for the medication and never fucking take it and sell the medication. Between the anxiety medication, between the fucking goddamn pills, that there will be a doctor out there that is probably willing to give me a prescription of a fucking 30 milligram dose of Oxycontin every single fucking goddamn month of 30 pills, and I could sell that to somebody, including fentanyl patches, if the pain got worse. And that's what I was forced to, because my option would be to do that until I fucking die, where these people told me to give up, say that's where I should be, stuck inside, worthless and weird, because nobody cared about me. Word is that they owe me money for what they've done. But instead of living your life as a drug dealer, where even these assholes go and live normal jobs and they might sell drugs on the side trying to fuel their music career because they barely make it month to month. Why the fuck should one single person be able to move out of state and have any form or a sense of life to go to a normal job or a normal aspect of living, to live their autistic life, to go and have a partner, to say that they love and care about somebody, if they do not care about their choices when it comes to me and what I decided wanting to be a trans person, if they refuse to accept me as a woman and what it is that they would need to do in their life to resonate and fucking take care of what they did wrong. Two people. And why should they have any person in life that would accept them? That would accept them saying they made a mistake, saying that, maybe, they should move on. No. The entire principle is that you go and fix your fucking mistake. Because that's what I choose for my life. Because I would rather everyone else pay for those poor decisions, including them, to make sure that they had to fix what they did. Because fuck a life that they get to love anybody else and anyone else gets to fucking love them. If not even magic makes them care about my life. Why go back to Mormonism and Christianity? If the love of God is going to tell you to just accept that you're disabled and accept the gift that you have and accept that God will accept you once it is that you spend the rest of your next 30 years letting them live in that vice and choice that they want and not having who you want and how you want them to be, because God's just going to provide you with those feelings when you go to heaven if you deserve it. Because you earned it. What does it take for me to have that feeling for the next 30 years if I accept the condemnation of hell for the rest of my eternity? And it starts tomorrow when I wake up and I can have the person that I want in those next 30 years, for all of those next 30 years every day, being as well off as I need to be to have them the way that I want them. Because I'm already willing to start to put in the work for that. That's where I am with my life. But it looks like I don't have one person watching me every single day anymore.